Tucker Carlson continues to sink to brand new, exciting lows. During one of his recent broadcasts, following the allegations against Judge Brett Kavanaugh, he decided that, you know what would be great? Let's blame the victim. Watch.
Let me ask you a very specific question about Christine Ford. And you're suggesting that you're not allowed to disbelieve somebody, but I retain my right of reason, and I can determine as an adult and a U.S. citizen whether I believe the evidence or not. And until they come from me, I'm going to do that. But let me ask you this. Does she have a responsibility? She's claiming that this man sexually assaulted her and it altered the course of her life. She can't fly on airplanes. It's affected her relationship with men. He's a predator. She didn't tell anybody his name for 36 years, during which time he got married. He interacted with many others in our population. Sex offenders tend to commit serial sex crimes. Doesn't she have an obligation to tell someone to stop him from doing that if he is, in fact, a sex criminal? Where's her obligation here? What about the rest of it? If he's actually a sex criminal, we have a right to know that, and she has an obligation to tell us. And I know it's hard, but why don't we have a right to know? If there's a rapist on the loose, if you don't tell anybody, if Bernie Madoff rips you off and you don't tell his others and investors, you're part of the problem, are you not?
Wow. So, basically, why didn't you speak up? I mean, if you don't warn the rest of us after getting brutally assaulted, sexually assaulted by a rapist, well then, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. How could you not protect the rest of us from this horrible rapist? Wow, dude. Man. There is no bottom to that barrel. We just keep going lower. So, Tucker Carlson, and maybe I'm sure the defenders will be like, oh, you're taking him out of context. He was just asking a question. He was just asking a question to this liberal, radio host. By the way, that's Ethan Berman. So, the video is Tucker Carlson takes on liberal radio host. And it's ridiculous, right? This isn't a contest. This is, hey, a Supreme Court justice nominee may have raped, done a horrible sexual assault to women in his high school days. And we're having a discussion on, is it the victim's responsibility to warn everyone else? Now, here's the thing. He says, well, I realize it's hard. No, Tucker, you don't realize how difficult it actually is. See, like me, you are a white male who has never had to experience anything like this. You ask any woman how difficult it would be to come out, especially someone who has survived sexual assault, you're going to find that it's actually incredibly, horrifically difficult to come forward with these sorts of accusations. Just to even admit to other close family members that something like this happened. I mean, here's the thing. When you come out with this, first of all, what you receive a lot of is shame, right? There is a big shameful element to this. So these women have, feel like, why couldn't I fight them up? And of course, there is not just internal shame, right? Which isn't their fault, but there's also external shame. There are people shaming them and saying, why did you let this happen? There's the shame. There's the attacks, of course, against them. There's the threats against them. There's even people that are being put in extreme danger, which has happened to Christine Blasey Ford. Ever since she went out, she was literally chased from her home. That's the reason why rape doesn't get reported in this country, or sexual assault. It is because of the backlash, right? And again, there are the questions. Why didn't you fight him off? Why did you go out at night? Why did you drink? Why didn't you tell him no? Why were you wearing such a short skirt? Why were you dressed like that? I mean, of course, if you dress like that, you go out and you should expect to get sexually assaulted. Why did you lead him on? It is always the woman's fault when it comes to rape, never anyone else's. That's the message here. In reality, it is 100% the fault of the rapist. I mean, it's actually been shown that the best way to prevent rape and sexual assault is not to rape people. I don't know why this is very, very difficult to understand. But some people apparently don't get it. Don't understand that, hey, maybe if men didn't rape and sexually assault women, we wouldn't have rape and sexual assault. Maybe Tucker Carlson should take that into consideration before he blames the victims for not coming forward. And by the way, speaking of coming forward, there was the first victim, Christine Blasey Ford. Deborah Ramirez, the second accuser, she had some doubts about coming forward. She admits, hey man, I was drinking at the time. Again, that's part of our culture, right? Where we put it on the woman, how dare you have a drink? But we don't blame Brett Kavanaugh for apparently being a sloppy ass drunk and doing these things. Oh no, it's her fault because she had a drink. And then if she misremembers, again, that's her fault, right? Or we accuse her of misremembering, or anyway. She said, look, I admit that I was drinking. I had a few drinks. I was there. But I took the time. I went through my thoughts. I made sure that it was 100% Kavanaugh. That I have no doubts in my mind that it was Brett Kavanaugh that did this. Right? That's the second accuser. Now there's a third accuser. Right? And to be fair, Tucker Carlson did this segment last night, so he didn't even know about the third accuser. That third accuser, much, much worse, right? Much, much worse. Accusing Kavanaugh of running rape trains. And then her being a victim of said train after, of course, he had allegedly, along with Mark Judge, allegedly spiked the drinks for some of these women at the parties. So that's even worse, man. And then, of course, you tell Tucker Carlson that a lot of this information. He's like, well, why didn't they come out then? Why didn't they come out earlier? And that seems to be the prevailing narrative here is, well, if this was so bad, why not come out? Because of all the reasons that I stated before. Again, women who come out are immediately attacked. So other women stay silent. This is not hard. This is not a difficult thing to understand. When you attack women that come out, you can also simultaneously say, well, I mean, what? Yeah, why didn't you come out? Well, it's because I'm getting attacked. I mean, is anybody questioning the men who were molested by the priests? No. Why didn't anybody say to the men, why didn't you come out earlier? Well, come on, man. They shouldn't be questioned. But what I'm trying to say is, here's the thing. Between these two situations, nobody's questioning the victims of the Catholic sex scandal, right? Nobody's questioning them. But when it comes to the women, and this is also part of why it's become so partisan, right? You have partisan people like Tucker Carlson saying, it absolutely didn't happen, and if it did, why didn't you warn us? Trying to assign the blame to the victim here. And that's gross. But my point is, people often believe men more than they do women. And let's be honest, it takes a lot of courage for any victim of sexual assault, whether you be a man or a woman, right? Because look, men get raped. It doesn't happen as much, that's for sure. But nonetheless, it's still a pretty bad experience from what I understand. And for men, it's also difficult to come out, but not as difficult as it is to come out as a woman. And neither should be minimized, neither should be ignored, dismissed, or otherwise. And of course, certainly to get back on the topic, victims of these crimes should never ever be blamed for the actions of rapists. And by asking that question, Tucker Carlson has literally proved that he is the worst. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.